A report was requested on potential funding sources for one-time extension. I say one-time in terms of the funding. Library hours from, I guess it's 24 hours a week now to 40, as was requested here a couple of weeks ago. You have at your place a report focusing on those funds that are directly attributed to the City Council. So let me walk you through that, and then if you have questions, by all means ask them. RVCOG has reduced their dues for this year, and as far as we know next year, so there's a $7,800 reduction there in a budgeted line item. That will be good for, I presume, the rest of this year as well as all of next year. Is that correct, Allison? The City Council has a line item of $20,000 for vision implementation. None of that has been spent or encumbered thus far. The Arts Commission has $43,000 previously appropriated but not yet spent. They have $25,000 that is available for next fiscal year, the second half of the biennium. And they have currently spent or encumbered or plan on spending $25,800. So there's the $25,000 plus the $43,000 there. Mayor and council travel and training could be safely reduced by $3,000 each of these 2 years, as well as $7,000 for boards and commissions, based upon past practice. And then RVTV has been providing a service for which the council has never instituted or implemented a fee. So there's a few people who go to RVTV every year and learn how to do a program on video or a presentation on video or do a video production. And essentially what we have discovered is that the taxpayers of the city are subsidizing or paying for that service. We are essentially challenging RVTV as to whether or not we would even continue with it, since the council has never imposed a public education and governmental fee that is to be used to pay for it. And under new federal rules and regulations, the City Council can no longer impose that fee. The power to do so has been taken away from you by the federal government. And of course, the timing would not be very easily rearranged, but there's $500,000, no, $250,000, I think, every year in the next 2 years for city grants. We didn't put any figures there purposely because most of those grant agreements are already under agreement or under contract, and they're off and running. Without that, there's $164,600 that could be reallocated if council chose or desired to do so. Oh, but there was one other question that was posed to me. The Quest money is, several years ago, the then attorney for the League of Oregon Cities sent a letter out to, at least to us, because we asked the question, but perhaps, and I think it was probably to every city in Oregon, saying, if Quest is your landline telephone provider, we are informing you that there is no reason to not spend the money you have received to date and sequestered. Council has just simply never gotten to a point where they spent that money. Where that money is right now, about $2.8 million, it is the unappropriated fund balance of the city in your adopted budget. What that means is you would have to have a public hearing to spend it, and you would, under the guidelines or guidance of statute, you would need to have a calamity occur to be able to access it. It is money that you have indicated to the state of Oregon you have no intention of spending. But the unforeseen, or in the sense of a calamity, would certainly open the path to going there. So there's the report requested. Any questions?
Mr. Statler.
I wasn't the calamity part. I wasn't. We'd have to have a public hearing.
Yes.
In order
because you're reopening the budget process. and it's greater than 10% of the adopted general fund budget.
Mr. Please. Thank you. The unappropriated fund balances can't be spent in the budget cycle that they're in, so it's really not anticipated. And then there is an exception, and they use calamities such as fire and flood, something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Further, any questions on? Mr. Dial has done his due diligence for us, obviously, and we were requested, what, $120,000, I believe, with some matching funds from the Library Guild or whatever. Just a couple of comments from me. I would be uncomfortable. I mean, we can look into it, but like the Arts Commission, I would be uncomfortable in pulling money from a standing commission that may have projects in the pipeline or something else that we don't know about or not aware of, at least at this point. So that makes me somewhat uncomfortable unless we heard from the Arts Commission. I'm also a little uncomfortable in removing vision implementation monies because, again, that gives the council some flexibility in doing some things that it sees necessary in the community, and it gives us the ability to draw on those funds. And so, all of these are, they're things we can look at. RVTV, the $23,000 for teaching people to do video. I don't know how many people take advantage of it, and how much. I've not seen a report on it, and Mr. Hoke, I know, has been in negotiations with RVTV on that. So, to get further information on this, I would need to certainly have some questions answered at this point too, and I'm sure the rest of the council maybe feels that way too. I appreciate Mr. Dial sort of plowing through all of this and finding where there's been some monies maybe that could come out for some help in the library. So